Goodbye, goodbye, farewell, farewell, I'm not sure what to do. So long, au revoir. It's hard, but I'll pull through. Are you sure you won't be sorry comes tomorrow? You won't want me back again to hold you tight.
If the song turns out all right on the session, he said we might offer it to the BBC for the Eurovision Song Contest.
I said, what?
For what? He said, we'd never heard it. What is it? He said, oh, well, he said, don't get concerned about it or nervous. He said, it's a bit like Come Dancing for Songs. That is, but I'd never seen it very much. I've seen pictures, and Bob had got a television, but we didn't watch it much. We were either singing or talking our heads off or playing guitar, you know. But occasionally we watched, do you remember there was a programme from Kent Walton, I Can Pick 'Em, yes. Call for Cats.
Call for Cats.
We'd watch that because there were pop records on it, you know, but we didn't watch anything else, you know. So we'd never heard of the Eurovision. Absolutely, complete mystery. What? Never heard of it. It goes on every year, he said, and he said, well, I'll let you know, let's see how the record turns out. So I said, right, OK, well, not particularly. Let's get the record out, that's the most important thing. Let's see if anybody will play it and buy it, you know, that was the most important thing. But anyway, we said right from the beginning, we said, can we give up our jobs? This was after we were on the talent competition, and Gerald said, oh, no, he said, don't give up your jobs. He said, you've got no singer work, nobody knew, you haven't made a record.
This is the classic, don't give up the day job.
Don't give up the day job.
That's what he actually said, you know, to us.
We were chomping at the bit, or champing at the bit, you know, having won a talent competition, we thought we were going to make a record fairly quickly, nothing happened for months, you see. It was, oh no, we've won a competition, and we're still not going to make a record, we want to be singers, you know. We had no idea what we were letting ourselves in for, you know. It just seemed like this magic world where you don't have to go to work every day, and you can spend all day in the sunshine when everybody's in an office or a factory or something. You just wander about, and oh, we've got to be at so-and-so on Saturday night, that's lovely. Yeah, what a lovely life.
Yeah, it's great.
Talk about simpletons, you know. But anyway, so for months we've been wanting to start being singers, and we kept saying, can we give up our jobs now? No, don't wait. Because once he picked, well, can we give up our jobs now? No. Well, we're going to make a record. Should we give up our song? No. Until you know what you're going to do. He said, well, nobody knows you exist. No disc jockey's ever heard of you. The public don't know about you. He said, so you hold on to your jobs till the last moment. Oh, really? Oh, how gloomy. I got in my diary, I can't stand this anymore. You know, I want to get going. This is ultimate. I'm driving me crazy. When's something going to happen, you know? Anyway. So went back in the studio the following week with and there's the violins and so on, and we just go to them. We've known the song for 2 years. I mean, singing it, well, of course we know it. You know, it's just second nature to us, you know. So we recorded 2 songs, you know. It didn't take very long. We did everything, 2 sides with retakes in 3 hours. No problem. Why should there be a problem? How long does it take to sing a song? 3 minutes, you know. And then we went back into the office. He said, right, I think you've made a nice record, boys. He said, we've got to do some work on it now to balance the instruments and get the tone right and so on. He said, I think we've got a nice record here. He said, well...
That was Are You Sure?
Are You Sure?
And the B-side, One Thing More,
yeah.
The very first one, yeah.
So, and then we'd fulfilled our contract, 1 record, you know. So he said, well, look, you go home. He said, don't chuck up the jobs. He said, keep your jobs. He said, well, I'm going to offer it to the BBC now and see if they like it. And he said, and of course, there's no guarantee they'll accept it. He said, but if they do, I'll write and let you know. He said, then you'll have to start rehearsing. We said, all right. So we went home, and I got a letter in the post from him saying, as I said in the office, I'm offering it to the BBC, but there's no guarantee they'll accept it. I thought, another potential for disappointment, you know. It may be, well, no, who cares? We made a record. At least our name's going to be on a label, and it might be released, and we might sell some, you know. Shall I tell that story about the cycling down to the end of the road once it was going to come out? Well, I used to cycle to work. And I remember starting off from my house to the end of the road, and I thought, I wonder how many pedal strokes I can do to the end of the road and think that's how mmany records we'll sell. So I stood in top gear, and I stood on the pedals, and I thought, this is it. I got to the end of the road, got to 40. And I thought, I stopped and I thought, 40,000 records? Wow, we'd never sell that many, you know. I mean, how many people do we know? Anyway, so I thought, well, wait and see. So I cycled. I didn't tell them I'd made a record at work. You know, I thought, it'd be too much. They'll we'll sack you, you know.
Well, I was keeping a very low profile. I was just going to work every day, just, you know, quiet. All this was going on. But I didn't tell anybody.
No, well, we learned to, you know, don't be... You can do things. You never know which is going to be the stage that makes something happen. Yeah. So don't get don't build your hopes up, you don't get any pretentious ideas, just carry on and just wait and see if something happens. And even if you pull a cracker, you know, you don't all get a cracker, here's a cracker to pull, or don't count on getting the hat and the prize inside. You're bound to end up with just a bloody handle, you know.
Yes.
So that's what you're gonna treat it like a cracker you're pulling. You may or may not get what's inside. If you don't, pull another cracker. If you find another one, pull another cracker, you know. I've never thought of it like that. That's really what it's like. Anyway, got the first letter saying he's offered it to the BBC. They may not accept it. Oh, right, another letter within a few days saying, congratulations, the BBC's accepted your song in the contest. You better start rehearsing.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We're not only having a record out, we're going to be in a contest and be on TV. Perhaps I can now chuck up the job.
Yes. I think it was at that stage that we seriously...
Well, still no guarantee. So we asked her, we said, when should we give our notice in? Can we give it in now? She said, well, don't give it in. Give yourselves 2 weeks' notice before the British Heats, the Song for Europe.
Yes.
You see, 2 weeks before. I remember being so embarrassed. I thought, oh, now they'll know why I've had so many afternoons off. Oh, I was so embarrassed. You've no idea how terrible. I was nearly sick with tension.
Yes, yeah.
Going to the office and tell them, because I had loads of afternoons off, you know, and I was so frightening. I went to see the manager, and I said, I've got something to say. And he said, oh, yes, right. And I said, I'm going to have to give my notice in. And he said, oh. Well, you better go and see Mr. So-and-so. I thought, oh, another face-to-face. I went in this office, and hello, he said, Mr. Sargent it was. Mr. Sargent was the main manager, and he had Mr. Monkton under him. He said, I hear you're going to leave us. I said, I'm awfully sorry.
Yeah.
I said, it's not that I don't like the job. I said, but something's happened, and I think we can't really go on and do the things. He said, oh, he said, we've been expecting this. I thought, oh, the shame, the embarrassment. They knew all the time.
Yeah.
I thought, he said, oh, well, he said, I don't remember everything he said, but, well, he said, we wish you the best of luck and I hope you've made the right decision. I thought, well, so do I. So do I. I mean, if we fall flat on our faces, will I have the nerve to come back and ask for my job back? It didn't work, you know.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I've got to tell them, I had a similar experience, you know. I had kept a very low profile at work about this, but once we knew that we were going to be in the Eurovision heats, and it was definite, there was a television, I had to give my notice in as well. But I didn't like to go and see it. I thought, well, when would be a good time to do this? I was embarrassed, you know. But then eventually they came around talking about summer leave, because by this time we were into end of January, February. And they came around saying, oh, by the way, Bob, summer leave, everybody between May and September of this year. Now, obviously, the boss has got to have the best dates. He's picked July, blah, blah, blah. And so he said, that for you, that leaves May, and it leaves...
Which one do you want?
Yeah, which one do you want, sort of thing. So I said, well, actually, you know, I don't think I'm going to be here, you know. He said, what do you mean you're not going to be here? So I had to explain it all, what we'd done. I said, oh, well, you know, oh, good luck to you then, sort of thing. And that was how I told them.
Well, of course, our parents was the other one.
Yes.
Telling our parents we were going to give our notice in. Yeah. And I remember my mum saying to me, you're going to give up your job? She said, you've been there 4 years. It's a good, steady job. She said, how are you going to pay me?
I know, exactly.
I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I'm not keeping you. She said, you'll have to pay me. And I was giving her then about £3 a week, you know, which was about 60 quid now, you know, and buy my own clothes. She said, well, I'm not keeping you, and your father's not in work all the time. He's not going to do good health. You'll still have to pay me. I said, well, don't worry, Mum, we'll think of something. Well, the first thing we thought of, Bob and I, as a side curiosity, we'd been dabbling in dog racing. Bob said he had a system.
Yeah, that's right. It's a foolproof system.
And we tried it a few times, and it had come off. You picked the 3 favourites.
That's right.
We only ever had £6 between us. It was us and another friend, and we each put £2 each in, and we did it £1 on the first race. If that didn't win, you put £2 on the second one.
And it was like an increase.
If that didn't win, you put £3 on the last race, and it never went past the second race.
It was infallible.
And we used to win about 30 bob between us, so we'd go off and have a slap-up meal in an Italian restaurant, a 1 and 6 plate of spaghetti bolognese,
that's right, yeah.
2 coffees.
It was infallible.
And still had money for the pictures. We thought, wow, this is the life. What we said, Bob said, well, look, if this singing doesn't come off, we'll be gamblers.
Yeah, we'll be gamblers instead.
I said, do you think it'll work?
So
the week before the Eurovision, I drew my last £30 out of my post office book, and his dad said he'd refined the system even more, and we went to Wimbledon Dog Track.
That's right, yes.
Because we thought, well, supposing we don't win, And the record's released and it doesn't sell. I've given up my job. My mum wants £3 a week. If I can win 30 quid, that keep me going for 10 weeks.
We'll have to be professional gamblers.
We'll have to be
instead.
professional gamblers.
It's as simple as that.
We sing sometimes, you know. So we went to Wimbledon Dog Track and lost everything.
That night, everything failed. They all went down, one after another.
I said, you sods, I said, it's all my money. I said, look, you said it was infallible. And his dad said, well, that's how it goes.
This is what happens sometimes, you know.
I've got nothing left.
Oh,
what am I going to do?
me.
All I've got is a bike and a post office book with £1 in it.
We had no money at all.
And all we've got is a TV show to do and a record's coming out. Yeah. Suppose these are some bloody sell. You and your system.
What are we going to do?
I thought, this is terrible. Oh, what a disaster. As far as I'm concerned, that was the worst thing that could possibly happen. I've got no money left and nothing in prospect. You know, oh, bloody charming. Thanks a lot, mate.
Yeah, all we got was this Eurovision thing, you know.
So we gave our notice in. The dog track thing was in the background. I didn't tell the manager or the record company about that. That was private, you know. I didn't tell my mum. If I'd said to me, where are you going? I'm going to a dog track. What? My mum said to me, Don, I don't want to see you in any billiard hall or snooker hall. You keep away from those sort of things. Because the background story is, which we haven't touched on, is how we ever made it to Soho and the Two Eyes, I don't know. But, well, I mean, that was a no-go. Our parents had complete control over us. They wanted to know where you were going, what were you doing, what time you were going to be back. So you learnt to keep as much quiet as possible, you know. But anyway, this is the Allisons thing. So anyway, I think both the record company and our manager rang us and said, oh, it's been decided, normally people on the Eurovision Song Contest all wear evening dress, you know, evening suits, and the women wear ball gowns. And they've decided you two, apparently we were the youngest ever to appear on the British one, they said, it won't look right on you two, you look too young for it. So have you got some sweaters or something you could wear? And we said, well, we can find something, you know.
A more casual, young approach.
Be more casual, you're right. OK, so that was that thing. We haven't mentioned Jack Good, but we'll make that separate. So we said, I tell you, we better look the same. So we went out shopping in Hammersmith. We ended up at Littlewoods, the store, you know, and we saw these V-neck sweaters, dark blue in knitted rib, you know. And we decided on those. We both looked the same with a cheap blue cotton tie and a turned shirt, you know. We'll wear those, you know. So that was our uniform. We bought it ourselves. I haven't got the receipt, I don't think. No. But I've got the sweater and I can still wear it quite comfortably, you know. But I've got it in my diary. I think it was 37 and 6, something like that, you know. So we got that from Littlewoods and we rang the manager and said, we've got the sweaters, you know, OK, right. So the other thing that went on alongside that was that the manager said to us, you need a bit of rehearsal for the Eurovision. And we said, yeah. Well, we didn't know about this bloke beforehand, but he ran this music magazine called Disc, and one of the people who wrote a column for him each week was Jack Good. And he said, I want you to go to Jack Good's house, he said, and he's going to groom you, because Jack Good, we didn't know, he was a TV producer, and he'd done 6-5 Special, and Oh Boy, so obviously he was a good producer. We didn't know about him. I mean, I didn't have a television in my house. So anyway, Gerald, about 2 or 3 weeks before the Eurovision, Gerald picked us up in his car and drove us to Jack's house, which was again near us in London, in Turnham Green, near Hammersmith. We went into Jack Good's house, and the story about this, our preparation for the Eurovision was this. We walked into Jack Good's, hello boys, it's the Oxford Don. Oh, please, very pleased to meet you. I understand you're going to do the Eurovision. Absolutely excellent. You know, right, come in here. Right, what I want you both to do, and he pulled these 2 bar stools forward, is I want you to sit on those. He said,
oh, right.
Right, we're going to have you sitting down. He said, oh, right, OK. So we got up on these bar stools, and then he went over to a fruit bowl, and he picked up these oranges, and he came back towards, he held them out to Bob. Here, Bob, hold these, Bob. So Bob took them, he got another 2, and he came across to me, put 2 oranges in my hand. He said, right, he said, I'm going to put the record on, and I want you to juggle the oranges. I said, what, while we're singing? He said, oh, yes. Well, why? He said, well, I don't want you to be nervous about the cameras. He said, I want to take your mind off singing. So he said, concentrate on catching the oranges and just sing along with the record.
Wow, yeah.
I said, well, what are we worried about? We've sung in the church choir for 10 years nearly. I mean, what's worrying about singing in front of people? We said, well, he's the producer. OK, mate, you know, right? So they start, da-da-da, so goodbye, and there we are.
And we were doing this, juggling
oranges, you know.
Up and
that was
down.
one evening. We said, right, OK, well, thank you very much. I think they went very well, Gerald, don't you? Thank you, boys, thank you, boys. Yeah. Is that it? You know, I think we probably went through it 3 or 4 times, you know, right? Gerald drove us home. See him again the following week, same routine. Exactly the same routine. He said, I think you're ready now. He said,
There was a body language thing as well, which I think was quite important in the Eurovision. It was like he was big brother and I'm little brothers, you know.
And we were joint head choir boys, and we sang on opposite sides of the chancel in the church.
And so as we went through a particular...
I don't know who was Decani and Cantoris.
Yeah.
You were on the organ side.
Yeah.
What's that?
I can't remember, John.
One of us was Cantoris, the other one was Decani.
As we went through the phrases on the song, Are You Sure? He said, Are you sure? Right, Bob, you were a little unsure of yourself? Look at Big Brother, and you smile back at him reassuringly.
We were used to passing messages to each other by eye in the choir.
Yeah, it was a little contrived to a degree, you know.
Yeah, but we just did what we repeated.
So it wasn't totally spontaneous. But I think looking back at that, when you see reruns of it, I can see how it works. It looked so natural, and I think that appealed to the millions of viewers that were watching.
It probably helped, definitely,
at the time, you know.
But we probably would have done it by nature anyway. We were used to do it in the church choir, weren't we?
Yes, that's right.
We'd be singing and watching each other, you know, like, you going to sing the next verse loud or shall I, you know?
Yeah, so Jack Good was quite helpful.
He caught on to that, he caught hold of it. He said, I've noticed you look at each other. He said, keep that in, keep that in. We said, well, we probably will anyway. But will we remember to do it now,
Yeah, we were sort of looking at each other for reassurance to make sure we'd, you know, this is a big deal and we're on the Eurovision.
Right. So 2 rehearsals for the Eurovision. Apart, we don't need to sing it at home. We know it, you know. So the following week we turned up at Shepherd's Bush, the Empire sort of variety theatre, which the BBC used as a studio. I remember we met Geraldine and Wimpy Bar first.
That's right.
We had a Wimpy and a coffee, and he said, "Don't be nervous, boys. Just do your best." You said, "Oh, yeah, all right, Mr. Marks. Thank you very much." He said, "Don't be concerned or worried about winning." He said, "The important thing is you're getting a TV spot. That's good publicity." He said, "And we'll wait and see what the record company does with the promotion." He said, "I'll do my best to get you some bookings."
And it was a good plug for the record, of course.
Oh, yeah,
because they say 4 million people will be watching this tonight. So even if 1 in every 100,000 buys a record, or you know, you've sold so many thousand records.
Well, we hope so anyway.
Oh, we hope so, yeah.
So anyway, we went in the studio. I think there was a whole day's rehearsal, wasn't there, on the day prior to actually going in the evening?
Yes, because all the other entrants, they were quite big.
Running through
Craig Douglas and lots big names. They were
well the unknown ones in the concert. Everybody else in the year we did it had hit records.
They all
already.
had hit. And
Craig
Shelton
Douglas,
was in it. And Shelton.
Craig Douglas, Ricky Valance.
Yeah, at the time.
Mark Winter.
Yeah, we were unknown.
Completely unknown. So we just accepted. We were so outsiders, we didn't stand any chance. We thought, well, fancy being with all these famous singers. Anyway, so the evening came and we went into the studio and we got picked last, luckily. It did help, I think.
Yes, exactly. The last spot.
Catherine Boyle was the
compere.
Comare.
Yeah.
Comares. Anyway, we went on and sang it. We were on last, and we had to come off. And then they did the voting, and we were just wandering about the studio, looking at cameras and things, you know, thinking it doesn't really concern us, the rest of this. Anyway, I don't remember watching the voting, but all of a sudden somebody said, "Oh, Allisons, can you get back on stage?" We'd a bit like being going back in the studio to do something again. We said, "Oh, why?" They said, "Well, you've won." So we've won?
We didn't.
We've won?
Yeah.
You know, yes, you've got to come and sing it again. Wow. We went back on again, sat on the stools, sang it again, you know, and everybody... The studio erupted in uproar, and we became the first and only Eurovision artist, to our knowledge, certainly in Britain, ever to do 2 encores. Because we couldn't get off the stage in the TV theatre. They wouldn't let us go.
They made us sing
said, "You're going to have to sing it again." We said, "What? 3 times?" Oh, right, great, lovely, okay.
So popular.
Sang it again. Loads of applause. The programme finished, you know. People started interviewing us. Right. We were interviewed by Peter West, who said, "Well, how do you feel about winning?" and all that sort of thing. You remember the name Peter West? He died only comparatively recently. And he said, "Now, how do you feel about appearing on Saturday Club?" And I said, "Oh, well, we didn't pass the audition for that." "Oh," he said, "I don't think there'll be any audition for you." We said, "We don't have to audition." He said, "Oh, no, not now." He said, "You're bound to have now you've got this success." I said, "Well, no more auditions. That's fantastic. Wow. Crikey." Anyway, I don't remember the next bit, but we got transported from the TV studios in Shepherd's Bush down whatever that White City Road or whatever it's called, to the TV centre to a reception.
Yeah.
Because we turned up, and quite literally, we were the only kids there. I mean, everybody else is in evening suits and sort of bow ties and glasses of wine and puffing
glasses
cigars.
of wine and Shelton and all posh people.
We got
all
virtually ignored. We had our girlfriends with us. They were only about 16, you know. And we were wandering around, sort of, we didn't drink any drink. I wasn't
Didn't
drinking. We
feel-
didn't go to pubs or anything, you know, just champagne. Oh, gee, I don't like that. It's too fizzy and stings your throat, you know. Plenty of sandwiches. Tuck in the sandwiches. Look, you know, we haven't had any dinner, you know. Just, I think and few people spoke to us. Anyway, it got a bit late and the girls said, we better be getting home. It's getting a bit late. And we said, all right, girls, I got to. We didn't know who to talk to. We're going to have to go now. Is that all right? Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, boys. Congratulations. All right. Good night. Right. Nobody said, "Oh, they're going now." No, I don't remember any photographers. Do
No,
you?
nobody seemed to take much
We
notice
just sort of
us,
wandered out.
actually.
You know, wandered out onto the street, stood at the bus stop, and caught a trolley bus back home.
Back home from my outside White City
And we
station.
stood. I remember standing at the bus stop, and I said, "Has this really happened?
This is, you know, I mean,
we just won the contest."
We just won the Eurovision. Or
Well,
sort
what
of
happens now? We've got to
finishing-
wait for Gerald to ring and say he's got us a dance hall or a ballroom somewhere, you know, or an RAF base or something, an American base, you know. Anyway, we went home and friends and relatives were all there saying, oh, because they were all around Bob's house, I think, because my family didn't have a television. Oh, isn't it great you've won? What's going to happen now? I said, well, we don't know, you know, we don't know. Nobody told us what happens next. Just go home, you know. So I've got no job. Oh, my goodness, I hope something happens. I haven't got a job to go to on Monday. Oh, this is it. We finished our jobs on the Friday evening.
That's right.
That was our last. I cycled home from my job. Thought, I'm not going to cycle to work anymore. We did the Song for Europe the following Wednesday. So we actually gave up our jobs Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days before we were singing on telly.
Yes, exactly.
We didn't have
yeah.
a job, didn't have any money. Nobody gave us any money. Nobody said there'd be some money. No, nobody told us.
No. So
Well, how do we get money now?
we just had faith and it all worked out.
Well,
That's the thing. We just had faith. And
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the next morning the phone didn't stop ringing. That was it. Bloody going crazy. Newspapers and so on, and record companies said, can you come up to the office as fast as possible? Oh, that's when things started going wrong. We'd got a contract for one record, and they whipped us into the office the next day, plunked a contract in front of us, same terms. Oh, sign here, boys, we want you for another 4 years. And our manager turned up and he didn't say, oh, hold on a minute, I think we better talk. The boys look like they're going to be successful now. We signed the same contract for this microscopic, infinitesimal royalty under the same terms, no rights. And nowadays, I've seen record contracts nowadays, they're like small telephone directories. One sheet of paper telling us what our duties were to the record company. And it said, basically, they were going to pay us this small royalty on 85% of the sales. That meant they didn't give us any royalty on 15% of the sales. So you sell 1 million, you say you don't get any royalties for 150,000 records. And over the years, it sold 5 million or more for this same tiny royalty. Plus, if ever they re-released it, 50% of the original royalty. So we've made virtually chicken feed for 50 years. Basically, we didn't know all this. We thought, you want us for another 4 years? Yeah. If they'd said, we want you to sign for a lifetime, we would have signed. Because nobody told us any different. This seemed too good to be. 1 minute you're scrabbling for attention, the next minute everybody wants you for lots. They want you forever. You think, oh, you want me for 4 years? You're joking. I was worried about next week. You know, so of course I'm going to sign. How do you know any different? Well, we should have had a solicitor and said, no, well, we'll think about it. Provided you up the offer, you know. We didn't know, you didn't haggle, you didn't look a gift horse in the mouth, you know. So that was basically it.
I was still underage anyway.
Yeah,
I was like
we were both
19.
underage. What
Yeah.
we didn't know was, well, I signed the second contract, right, but the first contract was we were both underage. But we didn't know anything about that sort of thing, you know. Anyway, what began to happen was, information began to come to us. Apparently, the demand was so colossal. We already failed the audition with EMI in September. Right, this was Fontana in February. The factory was so swamped and overloaded with orders for the record, they had to hire EMI's factory to press the record. And somebody told me just recently, any record you see with a black label, that comes from the EMI factory.
Yes, I
they
think
didn't
it
have
might been
Fontana's
John.
blue.
I think it might have been that John. Yeah, they couldn't cope. Philips, obviously, a big record company. They've got their own factory in Walthamstow.
In Ilford. Yeah, well,
in Walthamstow, off the North Circular. But they couldn't cope. They couldn't press enough records to supply the shops.
I've had
So they
very
had to
good
reach an
figures.
arrangement
Yeah.
with another record company to print there or to
Press the record, yeah.
Press the
Well,
record.
I've seen it in the we didn't know it at the time. We didn't have access to the right copy in magazines and newspapers. But apparently, I've seen figures ranging from 40,000 to 80,000 sales overnight, which is astronomical. That should have got you a #1 record. We sold 200,000 in 2 weeks. Well, we shot into the charts the first week. Well, I thought, I don't believe it. We still didn't have any money, right? Nobody gave us any money.
And we still hadn't been to Cannes to do the finals.
No, and we hadn't been to Vienna.
No.
Well, we booked our weekend in Vienna. It turned out to be the week after the Song for Europe. So they said, well, what are you going to do now? I said, well, we've got to pack our bags. We're going to Vienna, apparently. But that's our prize. They said, oh, well, things will get busy only once you get back. I don't know how I got any money from, because I just still didn't have any. My mum must have lent me something.
No,
Well, we didn't spend any money there, did we?
No. I don't know what we did, how we managed, but
I don't know how we managed. Neither of us had any money,
It was all
not
very,
our own.
all very overwhelming at the time.
But the
you
record
know.
shot up the charts. Newspapers and magazines were ringing up, and I thought, well, it looks to me as if we might be reasonably successful. I thought, well, there won't be any job getting. Well, we still weren't thinking about a big hit, because it got into the charts at number 14 instantly. You know, I thought, well, that's pretty. Wow, in the top 20 first week. Bloody hell, I can't believe it. Well, it looks like we might be able to manage. That's all I could think of. Thank God. I said to my mum, I'll get bookings, Mum, don't worry. This, I mean, we'll be able to do ballrooms every week. You know, we'll probably be, there'll probably be I still had no idea. We had no idea how much money you could earn. I remember I've been earning £8 a week. He was earning £6. Well, if somebody said to us, what do you think you'll get from singing? I thought, well, as long as it's about £50 a week, I could cope with that.
You'd be all right, yeah.
You know, £1,000 a year was a lot of money. A car was about £600. My dad didn't have a car, didn't have a television, didn't have a washing machine, didn't have a fridge. I mean, what's a lot of money? £100. I'd never seen a £20 note. I don't know if I'd seen a £10 note. £5 was pretty big.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, we went off to Vienna, and they pulled us back a day early and put us on a small tour. Do you remember? With Matt Monro and Ricky Valance and so on. We were the guest artists. We still didn't get any money. Nobody gave us any money. I thought to myself, well, where do you get money from in this music business? You've got a record in the charts, you're doing jobs. Who pays you? Yeah. You know, where do you suddenly realise there was something a bit disorganised about the whole thing? I mean, every Friday I'd got a brown envelope saying your wages, how many deductions, you know. Now, I'm not. Well, where does the money come from? Who's paying who?
Yeah, and there's the anecdote about the BBC gave us a cheque for something.
No, they rang me up and said, where do you want us to send the cheque? This is in a few days after the Song for Europe. And I said, what cheque? And they said, well, your money for the Song for Europe. I said, did we get paid?
Goodbye, farewell, I'm not sure what to do. So long, au revoir. It's hard, but I'll pull through. Are you sure you won't be sorry comes tomorrow? You won't want me back again to hold you tight.